everyone, it's Angie. I hope you guys are all doing great today on this lovely Monday morning. I am doing just fine. It's bright and early here. Well, not even quite so bright. I don't know if you can see, wait, the other way? A little bit. You can see the sunrise through the woods back there. So it's about 7:30 a.m. and I just wanted to get this rolling and get this yarn video out. I wish you all could see what I have sitting in front of me, because what I have sitting in front of me is a mountainous table. We're gonna have some camera issues today. I left my tripod at Maddie's, so on accident I forgot it, and so I'm using a holder that hooks to my table edge, and it's a little bouncy. So I apologize for that, but it's the best I could do, and I want to do this yarn video today. Got so much stuff to show you. Not very many new acquisitions, but a lot of projects. I have quite a few completions and quite a few works in progress, just like always. So let's dig right in. First completion, since we'll talk about that, since first thing, I made myself this gorgeous poncho. And I made this using a Bag-O-Day crochet pattern, and you can see that it alternates post stitches and granny stitches like on the same row. So you're doing posts or grannies and you switch it off at the turn. It's a 2-point poncho, so it doesn't have the long, arms. You got your arms pretty much free to do whatever you want. And being a 2-point poncho, it is kind of, because I wanted it to be kind of long on my arms, but in order to get it longer on my arms, I also had to make it long in the front and the back, which I'm okay with that because I like things that cover my butt anyway. So it is nice and long. And I used, this is all 100% Peruvian wool from Knit Picks. And these were just, I just had some balls that I thought the colors coordinated well together, and I just randomly put the colors together as I felt like it, and this is how it turned out, and I like it. I think it turned out really cute. So that was one completion that I had, but we'll go on to acquisitions first, and then we'll do projects and whips and completions, just because that's how I have it kind of set up on my table. So first thing, as you guys probably know, Knit Crate went out of business. So I don't have my Knit Crate membership anymore. So I was a little bit sad about that because I liked having a monthly subscription. I liked that even if I didn't get a chance to go out yarn shopping or shop for yarn online, I always knew at least I had a little bit of something new coming in every month. And I was sort of bummed about that, even though I didn't always love what came in my Knit Crate box. It worked out pretty well because Mindy and I would oftentimes, our tastes are just different enough that if I didn't like one thing, she would like it, and vice versa. So we were able to trade more times than not and get a little bit more product so that we could, do a bigger project. So it worked out, but no more. So I was looking for a little bit of a replacement, and I'm still looking. I want to get a subscription to Arcane Fiberworks. If you've never checked out Arcane Fiberworks, that is a yarn. They have a monthly subscription that program as well, but they also just sell yarn, by the hank, all wool, superwash, merino, and you can get it in any weight that you want. Not any weight, but they have a variety of weights that you can choose from. And their colorways that they show on their website are the most beautiful hand-dyed yarns that I've ever seen in my life. My very, very favorite is called What Does the Fox Say? I want some of that really bad. So when I'm in a position to be purchasing again, which is going to be soon, because things are getting caught up finally with the DC trip and Nate's root canal and crown and all of that stuff. So things are getting caught up, so I'll be able to go back to my regularly scheduled purchases pretty quickly, I hope. But I did subscribe to the Darn Good Yarn subscription. And I had got my first 2 months worth. So I'm going to show you what I got from Darn Good Yarn. I chose to go with 3 balls per month. In that, I believe, is $25 a month. And this was what I got my first month. This is the ball. It is silk roving weight worsted yarn. Silk roving worsted weight yarn in the color Mist. It is 100% silk. It is hand dyed, and it is a 1-ply roving, obviously. And there is 75 yards in here. So I got 3 balls, which means I have a total of, well, you do the math. I don't feel like adding right now. It's too early. 75 and 75 is 150 and 225. So I have a total of 225 yards of this. And I don't quite, this is pretty. I mean, it's soft, it's pretty, it's a decent weight. But I don't really know yet about, I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet. And it's I don't know, I just feel like that's kind of a lot for $225 for 225 yards. So I'm not sure about this subscription. So this was the first month. And then my second month just came, and this is what I got the second month. And this is another reason why I'm not sure about this subscription. Because this is what I got the second month. This is sparkle worsted weight silk yarn in the color Mystical Clear Quartz. And I have 3 of these, and it is also hand dyed, and it's also 75 yards, and it's a single ply roving yarn. Now, it's very cute, but not my style. Just, you guys who know me know that this is just not something that I would, maybe I'll make a hat for one of my granddaughters, but with it being silk, I'm not sure. It's probably not going to have much stretch factor to it unless I do some, do some real good, front post, back post, or back loop only stitches to make the brim nice and tight. So, or not necessarily tight, but so that it stretches. So yeah, I'm not sure. And then here's the one thing about this. And I really liked this company because it's woman owned, and they do a lot to support women in developing countries, and they're eco-friendly, and they've got a lot of just good sustainably sourced. It's, they've a lot of good, the company has a lot of good characteristics, and that's why I wanted to, I went this route and wanted to support them. But this yarn, now the first month I chalked it up to whatever, maybe it was just a fluke. But now the second month it came, and it's the exact same way. It has a very, very perfumey odor. The yarn smells extremely perfumey, to the point where, like, I don't even have to put my nose to it. Just as soon as I opened this package, it just, woof, it just enveloped the room. So it is, oh, hi, Bodoo. See, Bodoo can even smell it. How does that yarn smell, dudes? Oh, one other thing too is you do get a card with a QR code you get some rewards that you get, like a certain percentage off or a coupon off. And then there's also patterns too that come, with the yarn. And this one came with some stickers, some cutie stickers. So, yeah. But anyways, I'm not sure how long I'll hang out with the Darn Good Yarn. If I get another similar yarn as to this next month, I'll probably go ahead and try something different, because I don't know how much I love that silk roving yarn. But So that's one yarn acquisition that I got. The only other yarn acquisition that I've really gotten was an order that I placed to Premier Yarns. I ordered a few things from there, and they were for specific projects. And I forgot one of the projects. I'm going to have to get up real quick and get it. I'm sorry. Hold on for 1 second. Just talk amongst yourselves. No, I'm kidding. It's got to be right here. Where is it? Oh, it's in this box. Oh, I did have it. It's just in the bottom of a box over here. Okay. All right. I did have it after all. Perfect. Okay, so what I ordered from Premier was they had some really good clearance sales. So I've used this in the past, and I absolutely cannot say enough good things about it. This is their Premier Chowpaca yarn, and this is in the color Smoke, and it is a super bulky 6, and there are 86 yards in this skein. And it comes in a package of 3 skeins. And I believe that the pack of 3 were on sale for $8 for the 3-pack. And it is made of 80% acrylic, 20% alpaca. And it is super, super soft and very Angora-ish. I mean, you can see the nice halo coming off of it. And I had purchased this. I'm making a sweater with this. I haven't found a pattern yet that I'm in love with, though. So that sweater hasn't been started yet, but that's the plan, is I'm going to make a sweater with this. So I got enough of those for a sweater. And then the reason I placed the order with Premier was because I wanted to I had been in the market for a fingering weight yarn to do a project. It's called the Evelyn sweater, and I'll show it to you when we get to projects because it's in the way back corner of the table and at the bottom of the box, so we'll have to wait till I get there. And it called for a fingering weight superwash merino wool yarn, and I didn't have any, and I was trying to find some at some, little yarn stores, and it was ridiculously expensive. And even when I looked to order it online at different places, it was very, very, very expensive. So I happened to be looking on Premier's site and at their clearance, and this is a universal yarn, which Premier sells universal yarns. This is called, it's by Universal Yarn. It's called Wisdom Yarns Angora Lace. And this is the color Coffee. And it definitely is coffee. And this is the color Peacoat. So I got coffee and peacoat, and I'm using these together to make a sweater. And it's a brioche style of crochet sweater. And I'll show you, if you don't know what I mean by that, I'll show you exactly what I mean once we get to the bottom of that box. But this is a fingering weight yarn, and this is 60% fine merino superwash wool, 10% Angora, and 30% nylon. So this is going to have a nice little stretch to it too with that nylon, which the pattern that I'm using is for a pretty fitted style sweater. So I was really, this was almost like this was the yarn that was just made for the project that I wanted to do, because I like my clothes to be a little bit roomier. I don't like to feel constricted, especially in my shirts or sweaters. And this pattern is a little bit of a fitted sweater pattern. So the fact that I'm using this with the nylon in it is going to make it be a little bit more comfortable for me, I think. But you can tell it's, it's a very fine, it's a fingering weight yarn. And I got these for $2 a skein for Angora and Superwash. That is a fine deal. A fine deal. 462 yards per skein. $2 each. Run, don't walk if they have any more of these. These are really nice. If I had anything else that I was ever going to make with fingering weight yarn, I would go buy a whole bunch more of them. I'd buy everything they had because I love this. It's very, very soft and it's wonderful to work with. It's, even though, you know, working with a lace weight yarn is a little bit, or I keep saying lace weight, I'm sorry, fingering weight. Lace weight is 0, fingering weight is 1. I'm sorry. Fingering weight yarn is a little bit, you know, it is what it is. You know, it's teeny. It's still a joy to work with. I really am enjoying it. So I'll show you that project once we get to the bottom of this pile in front of me. The other yarn that I got from Premier, I got a snag on my finger now. I'm sorry. I got, this is a Fibra Natura, and it's called Unity Beyond. It's 36% wool, 28% cotton, 18% linen, and 18% bamboo. And it is a 3-weight, it is also a universal yarn. It is a 3-weight yarn, and the color of this one is called Springtide. And it's very pretty. It's just a very pretty, more of a, I don't know if you would call this a self-stripe. It's not really a self-striping, it's more of a long variegation. I've started working it up. I'm using a pattern from Cinnamon Stitches. It is called, it's the one that she just put out during her premiere week. It's going to be a tank top. And this is how it's working up, just so you can see how the colors are playing out in that. So it's not really striping so much as it is a kind of a long variegation. But yes, this is going to be a top, believe it or not. What you do is you measure from the top of your bust to the bottom, and then you make this strip that goes all the way around, and then you're going to put straps on it, and then it's going to have a flowy kind of skirt type bottom. It's not a skirt. The bottom of the shirt looks like a skirt. It's like flowy, not fitted. And I'm going to use, and this is what I'm using for it. So I have been working up. It's a little bit difficult to work with because it is a roving style yarn, and it does do a lot of thickness change. It varies. It says it's a 3-weight yarn. It goes from like a 1 to a 4. I mean, it goes from really, really thin to pretty bulky. But it makes a really cool natural look after it's worked up. So I'm enjoying it. But I'm not very far on that. I haven't gotten very far on that at all. So let's get to the things so that's all I have for purchases. Not much. I haven't bought much new lately. Well, there's a couple new things in here with my projects, but it was just like a couple skeins here, a couple skeins there. It wasn't like a big order or anything. Okay, so first off, my granddaughters decided that they needed new hats and sweaters. So the hats are already gone. I already made, oh, look at my crazy hair this morning. I'm sorry, you guys. The hats are already gone. I already made them, and they took them home with them. So that I can't show you those. The sweaters I can show you. I'll start with Lila's sweater. So I was at Meijer grocery shopping with Maddie when I was down there 2 weeks ago. And of course we had to check out the yarn section because, you know, of course. And they had some yarn on clearance. And I don't know, this is marked $4.11, but it rang up at $2.24. So I don't know what kind of a percentage off that is, but $2.24 this rang up as. It's a Bernat Pop, and it's in the color Kitchen Kitsch. It's a 4-weight medium 100% acrylic yarn, and it's very soft. It's a very, very soft 4-weight acrylic, and it's actually kind of fuzzy. I really, really enjoyed working with it. It's a very generous size 4 too. I've never used the Bernat Pop before. I am a big fan of Bernat yarn though, but it's been a while since I've worked with it, but I really enjoyed working with it. And I'll show you the, so I bought 4 of them. I bought all that they had. They had 4. And I had one entire one left after making this adorable hooded sweater. So it's got the hood in the back. Now I'm not quite finished with this. I don't have my tails tucked in because I'm Angie and I never tuck in my tails. The thing I really like about this is the collar. It has a regular collar in there, and then the hood goes over top of the collar. So the collar is going to stick up, you know what I mean? And then the hood hangs. Now, the hood isn't finished either, because do you see this row of white that's on here? This row of post stitches? I've got this tie here, and what I need to do is I need to take this and, here, let me show it to you from this direction. Take this and roll it onto itself and then sew it, and then the tie will stick out, you know, so you can tighten the hood. The problem I'm having is that using my darning needle and trying to do that, I keep sewing into the cord, which makes it so it can't move freely in and out of there. So I'm trying to figure out a way that I can do this without getting my darning needle into the cord itself, so that the cord is still movable, you know, inside there. And I'm having a heck of a time. I have tried it probably 10 times. I've started this and had to take it back apart. I'm about ready to give up, or I'm about ready to just sew it in as is and leave the strings just down as decoration, because and not have it be a usable, you know, item, because it's just not working. But I really loved this stitch pattern. This is from the YouTube channel Simona Crochets, and this is called her November sweater, if you wanted to look it up. She does a lot of children's clothing. I really enjoy her tutorials. And I, for the very first time, successfully color controlled this. So it was made in a raglan style, and then, you know, and then added the sleeves. And so I did that all by my big girl self. I matched the striping on the sleeves to the body all by myself, and look at how good I did. I did such a good job. I'm just so proud of myself that I was able to do that, because I've never done that before, and I think it looks great. So that's Lila's sweater. Now I'll show you Marie's. Now Marie's I'm not quite finished with either, but Marie's I'm just not quite finished with. For Marie's, I'm using the leftover of my Hirschner's worsted stripes yarn that I had used for the crochet along for the Calming Comfort blanket. So this was in the color Moroccan, the Moroccan color, and Marie hand-picked this. This is what she wanted her sweater to be. So this is also a Simona Crochets pattern, but this is going to be I gotta show it to you this way, like a double-breasted sweater. So it's actually going to be more like a jacket. So the button that's going to have 2 buttons, sets of 2 buttons that go down here like this, and it'll come together, you know, like so, and the sets of 2 buttons. Oops, and I caught myself on a stitch marker. Sorry. And then it also has a hood that gets put on after the fact. So I've just got to add a little bit more length to it, and then put the sleeves on and the hood, and then she'll be good to go with that. And I like this stitch pattern too. Is very cute. It's very tidy. It's a very tidy stitch pattern, And I really like Simona. It's Simona, Simona Crochets. If you haven't heard of her, check her out. I have been learning so much from her because she does a really good job of, she doesn't just say, if you want to make a size 2T, chain this. You know, if you want to make a size 5, chain this number. She explains to you in a very easy to understand way how to figure out stitch multiples and how to use body measurements to get what size you need. And I'm learning so much from her. I'm just learning a ton from her. So that's been really, especially, like I said, she does mostly children's clothing though, from what I've seen so far. I haven't exactly looked at everything she's done, but from what I've seen so far, it's mostly children's clothing. Then I have a scrapped project that was going to be a child's sweater. And I have to stand up to grab it. This was going to be Lila's sweater. And this is another Simona Crochets project. This is a light, like spring summer sweater. You can see the stitch pattern on it is very loose. It's like a puff stitch V-stitch pattern. I really enjoy the pattern, the stitch pattern, and I would like to do something like it on something for myself. But what happened here is I decided to use my mandala cake and my mandala bonus bundle in the color Sasquatch. I love this color, Sasquatch. And all was going well, except that this is supposed to be like a little light cropped sweater. So it's not going to get very much length. I mean, it's only got a few more inches to go. And I'm at the end of this color. And so I'm going to have to, which means my sleeves are going to have to be one of these other colors. And it's just not going to, just the way the striping, the way the self-striping works with this, the way the color changes work with this yarn, it's just not going to lend itself to this size of a project. So this will have to get taken out and this reused as something else because it's a real cute pattern, and I will do that pattern sometime, but I'll have to find different yarn to use because that yarn just isn't going to work for it. I finished myself a sweater. This is a Bag-A-Day crochet pattern. It is actually a little bit of a modification of a Bag-A-Day crochet pattern. It is in her library as a woman's coat, I think. And in it, she uses one of her large granny squares. I did not use the granny square that she used in this tutorial. I used one of her, a different of her granny squares. I used what's called the Galaxy square. So I made several, what you do is you make 16 of these Galaxy squares. And then the tutorial just shows you instructions for sewing them together to put them into a jacket. And then you put a collar on it. I still need to block this. Put a collar on it and do some cuffing at the sleeves. And, you know, just it just has a simple single crochet edging all around the bottom and the sides. Now what I decided, another modification that I made was she made long cuffs that were wider and folded back on themselves. And I decided to go with this little bit of the trendy thing right now is these balloon sleeves. So I decided to do a lot of reducing and make a long cuff that doesn't fold over and make the balloon sleeves. And it looks really cute. And my daughter Emily came over the other day with the girls and she spotted this and she's like, ooh, what's that? And she tried it on and it looked so good on her, you guys. It looked really, really good on her. So even though this project took me like forever to make 16 of these squares, then to sew them all up, and then, you know, do the sleeves and everything, it's going to go to Emily. So she has claimed this one. And it's the color, these are using mandala cakes also in the colors Wizard and Brownie. I used 2 different colors in there and just mixed up all the squares and put them together. I wish you could see it a little bit better. You know what? Maybe let me put it on real quick. Maybe that way you'll be able to see it a little bit better. I hope I don't get in trouble for disrobing on my video, right? I'm kidding. I have a shirt on. But yeah, maybe that way you can see it a little bit better than me just sitting there, flopping it about. I know, I love it, and I do love it. I really, really do. But I don't often do things for Emily, so she tried it on and it did look really good on her. Like I said, I do need to block it. And that's just supposed to hang open, and I do need to hide my tails, obviously. But that's what that looks like. Super cute. Super, super cute. Okay. All right. So there's that. Then what else did I do? Okay, we'll keep going with sweaters while we're talking sweaters. We'll keep going with sweaters. So I love the Halo, the Colorama Halo Ogo yarn. Love it. And so far I've made a blue cardigan, I made a green poncho, now I'm making a pink sweater. And this is going to be a 3/4 length top, and it is using a Bag O' Day crochet pattern, and it doesn't have a name, unfortunately. If you want the pattern and you'd like to leave me a comment, I could give you the link to this pattern. But you could make this short sleeve, because I've just started on this first sleeve here, and this could be a short sleeve top too. I'm going to make it 3/4 sleeves, but I love the pattern is really pretty. I think the pattern's really pretty, and it's kind of an off the shoulder or a wide necked, not really off the shoulder, but a wide necked top. And I'm going to make it 3/4 sleeves. And so I like this pattern because you're not making your sleeves as separate pieces and then sewing them on. You're actually creating the sleeve right onto the piece. You know what I mean? You're crocheting the pattern of the sleeve right onto the piece as you go, which can be a little bit, to be honest with you, it can get a little bit difficult because you got to keep twisting your sweater around like that, you know, as you go around and around. But, you know, whatever. Whatever. But so this is the front, and I started with the darker at the bottom, and it gets lighter at the top. And that's the back. Same with and it's just got a little bit of ribbing down there at the bottom. But it's so weird because these are the same. I had to use 2 Ogos for this, and they're the same exact color. And I started at the very bottom for both of them, and I started with the darkest. And would you believe that sun is going to be coming right in the window in just a minute? We're going to have to hurry up and finish up. Would you believe what a difference these two are in color? I don't know if you can see it, but this side here, this is the darkest. And then this side, this was the darkest on the other skein, on the other Ogo. So noticeably, luckily nobody's ever going to be looking at the front of you and the back of you at the same time. So I'm just rolling with it. But I was really surprised that in two of the same color, that the saturation of the color would be that much different. I still have not finished my sweater for the crochet along that we just finished up. It still needs some length. But here's what that looks like in case you didn't participate in that crochet along. So this is the short sleeve sweater that we did for Mindy and I's crochet along. Now, we have been on vacation from the crochet along for the past 2 weeks because Mindy was on vacation, but we'll be starting back up next Friday, and our new project is going to be a very cool shawl. So we go live at Fridays at 2 on Mindy's channel if you'd like to come and crochet a beautiful shawl with us. You'll just need some 4-weight yarn and us and a hook, and that's it. Okay, now, we still got a couple more sweaters, then we'll get on to blankets, and then we'll be done. Okay, so Maddie got me hooked on this new lady called TCD DIY, and she is the queen of cables. So I've been getting into some cable stitching. And so this is the beginning of what's going to be a cropped tank top. And it's for my daughter Emily because obviously I'm not going to wear something like that. But it's so pretty. And for this, I'm using Lion Brand Heartland yarn in the color Capital Reef. Yeah, Capital Reef. That's an interesting color name. It's the most beautiful color I've ever seen. And I really, really like the way she teaches how to do cable stitches. What I don't care for is the way she does the rest of the stitching for the rest of the pattern, because she works vertically, which that's not the problem. I don't have a problem with that. The problem I have is that she does a back loop only half double crochet row followed by a back loop only slip stitch row, and that is the entirety of the pattern. So you're just doing back loop only half double crochets and back loop only slip stitches. And if you know anything about working slip stitches, it's very difficult to work into slip stitches if you do them too tightly. So you have to be really, really careful to work nice and loosely into your slip stitches. So, but I'm not very far on that project at all, as you can see. Another sweater that I'm finished with, I just have to tuck my tails and put the finishing touches on, is I jumped on the bandwagon with the Hexi Cardi. Now, if you don't know what the hexagon cardigan is, you must not be on Facebook or on any crochet groups in Facebooks in any event, because everybody and their brother and sister and mama and cousin are doing the hexagon cardigan. So you start out with a granny hexagon, and then you fold them and sew them together and add length. And I'm going to add some length to the sleeves too and make it a balloon sleeve, because Emily also claimed this sweater. And you've got a Hexi Cardi. And she wanted hers a little bit on the longer side, so it is on the longer side. For this project, I used Lion Brand Mandala yarn in the color Sasquatch, but I put 2 strands together because that's a lightweight 3, and I wanted this to be a little bit denser of a fabric, so I put 2 strands together, and that's how that turned out. Okay, now here's my cool thing that I'm using my fingering weight yarn for, and this is a project that's going to take me forever. So this is brioche crochet. This is called the Evelyn sweater, and it's a pattern that I purchased on Ravelry. And it is a yoke style cardigan. Let me try to get this so you can see it. Or a top-down yoke style, a top-down cardigan. So you're working on the, I'm just working on the yoke right now still. And you create this pattern. Oh, this light is starting to come in and it's so terrible. You guys can't really even see. Is that better or worse? I might have to, let me close my curtain here. There, that's going to be a little bit better for us. I tried to do this early so that I wouldn't have to contend with that, but it snuck up on me. But that's what that looks like. So it looks like, it looks like, I don't know how to even describe it. Now it is rolling because there's a lot of post stitches in here. But once you're finished with it, it won't roll like that. But it's like you're putting a design into, you're crocheting a design into it. So you're working with 2 strands all the time and switching back and forth. And it is, like I said, fingering weight yarn. So this is actually a lot of work. More than it even looks like. And that's my last sweater. That's a lot of sweaters. That's a lot of sweaters. Okay, now I got 2 blankets that I think, well, Angie finished them. They're Angie finished. So the first one is the Bohemian Romance Afghan. This was the last time I did a video. I had told you guys I had this on order from Hirschner's. I had been wanting it since like Thanksgiving and it had been out of stock. Well, I finally got it. And when I got it, I worked on it until it was finished. So it has all different stitches. Like each section has a different kind of stitch. And it just keeps going. And then you change colors. And it keeps going. And it changes colors. And it keeps going with different stitches. And that's that. So obviously, I still need to, I'm working on tucking tails and putting on the border rows right now. So that's where I'm at right now, is working on, I'm working around the border is where I'm at with that. But I had so much fun doing a stitch sampler Afghan that I went looking on Ravelry for another stitch sampler Afghan. And wouldn't you know, I found a pattern and it was free. And it was the most fun project I've ever done. The most fun project I've ever done. But I did make some modifications to it. So I don't know if you guys remember, I bought a bunch of that Jiffy, Lion Brand Jiffy yarn from Joann's, and I was gonna make a granny square sampler Afghan with it. Well, I decided that it would be better used if I made this sampler Afghan. Now, I started this Afghan 2 days before I went to Maddie's, and I finished it after a week of being at Maddie's. So I did a king size Afghan in a week. About 9 days, So, but I did modify it a little bit. I wanted to utilize the granny squares that I had already made that I was going to use in the other Afghan. I didn't want those to go to waste, so I stuck those, and I measured them out, and they actually measured the width across, measured out evenly, so I got really lucky. And then I also had to omit some of the sections of this because it was just getting too big. As it is, it's a good 6.5 feet wide by about 7.5 feet long. So, and I played with, so this is a hooked on sunshine pattern, which you guys know I love hooked on sunshine patterns. So they're some of my favorite patterns in the world. She's a great pattern writer and a great designer. And so it goes through, goes through many different stitch types. And then I threw these granny squares in there, so we can just shuffle past that. Then that, and then I had 2 rows of granny squares I put in there. And then that, and then that, and then there were these little granny squares that went in there. And some basket weave, and then that. And I just kind of played with the colors on this and did whatever I felt like. And then that. So that is, so, and it's, like I said, it is wide. I can't even get it all in the shot. It's so, it's even wider than that, you guys. It's that wide. And that's what I've worked on. And that's it. But am I finished with it? No, because I changed colors just about every row. So it's got all these ends. So Jeff needs to hide all these ends, and then I'm just going to put a simple half double crochet border. I'm going to do about 4 rounds of half double crochet for a border around the whole thing, but he's got a lot of ends he needs to tie in before I can do that. So he's got his work cut out for him on that one. But yeah, so I have not made it to my local Hobby Lobby yet. I know that everybody's been posting their hauls. I'm hoping that there might be something left at mine by the time I get paid, which is Wednesday. So I'm hoping by Wednesday when I go out there, there'll be something left, and then I can come back and I'll just do a short video and show you if I can get my hands on any good deals. And otherwise, if I don't do that, then I've decided that I'm going to place an Ice Yarns order, because it's been a good long time since I placed an order for through Ice Yarns, and I've got quite a bit in my basket, quite a few things in my basket that I'd like to get my hands on. And I haven't gotten any new yarn. I mean, I haven't gotten like a lot of new yarn in quite a while, so I feel like I deserve it. So let me know what you guys are working on down in the comments, what kind of crochet projects you're up to. I feel like I should be wrapping up on sweaters and stuff because it is March 20th. We're going to be getting into spring here soon, and I need to buy some cotton so I can get working on some summer tops. I mean, not that you have to use cotton for summer tops, but I don't know. Feels like they're cooler when you use cotton. Not cooler as in, ooh, you're cool. Cooler as in temperature cool. Or natural fibers anyways. But you don't have to. You can use anything. But let me know what you're working on down in the comments. And if you have any questions or anything. It's always good to sit and chit-chat with you about yarn and crochet. I love doing it. One of my very favorite things to do. So thanks everybody for hanging out with me. And I will see you guys all in my next video. All right. Have a great Monday. Bye everyone.